generous and kind introduction. If you guys call me Rozelle, you're in trouble. It's Rozelle, so I know the cadets will go off there because it's like smelling. But anyway, Chancellor DeStefano, fellow officers, non-commissioned officers of past and present, and distinguished guests, especially those we're honoring today, thank you for making me part of this incredible event. I'd also like to thank the university and the University Memorial Center for hosting this event and taking time to recognize the contributions of the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this Veterans Day as we honor the men and women throughout the nation's history who chose to serve their country in military uniform. The act of donning the uniform is deeply symbolic. It always has been and likely always will be. It is an act that expresses a deep and selfless commitment to the idea that we call America. When ordinary men and women step in the uniform of this nation, they commit themselves to the performance of an extraordinary duty, which may entail the highest and most fearsome costs. Today, our Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard are once again going into harm's way to defend freedoms we hold so very dear. Whether deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines are fully engaged in this era of persistent conflict. As we are now operating under the orders of the President of the United States as part of Operation New Dawn, our service members are completely dedicated to a complete withdrawal of Iraq by December and Afghanistan by December of 2014. There are some monumental tasks involved in these operations. In addition to turning over forward operating bases that have been sovereign soil, in some cases for over 10 years, they are teaching the soldiers and police of Iraq and Afghanistan to take the lead in fighting insurgents and insurgency. It's a challenging new mission for our service members to serve as advisors, mentors, and teachers with their Iraqi and Afghan brothers and sisters while maintaining their skills to fight. And I assure you that we are up to this new mission. We also remain poised and vigilant as we watch activities in Libya and other areas of concern continue to unfold. Deploying into harm's way comes at a cost. Soldiers miss time with their families, especially around those most precious days like Christmas, birthdays, or anniversaries. Missing holidays and special days, though, is part of the sacrifice of serving your nation. But our soldiers continue to answer the call, following the footsteps of those veterans who came before them. Americans, the veterans, and their families have answered the call to duty, and that is why we are honored to serve her today. Please, if you're a veteran or a family member of a veteran, please stand or raise your hand to be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in a round of applause for these fine men and women who have chosen. I'm sorry to make you do that twice for the veterans out there, but we've got to recognize the families too on Veterans Day because we serve as much as we do. And on Veterans Day, as we know it, does not always exist, as Tiffany mentioned before. The day was originally intended to honor those of World War I, when President Woodrow Wilson set aside the 11th day of November as Armistice Day. The day was made a federal holiday, as mentioned, in 1938, and 1954 expanded to honor all veterans of World War II and before. And today, the day recognizes our nation's veterans who have served. Today, Americans, communities large and small, are gathering like we are here today to honor veterans. We congregate in parks, we assemble in community halls, and we kneel at grave sites. We march along parade routes, and we do these things that tell our veterans, thank you for your service. Today we honor all veterans, those who are still with us and can share their tales, and those who have laid down their lives in the defense of freedom. Today is a special day here at the UMC, and we specifically honor those from Colorado who gave their all. But this is not Memorial Day. We are just where we just honor our fallen. Today is the day we celebrate all of those who have responded to the call of service. All devoted their time, be it 2, 10, or 30 years. All gave their time of their own free will to defend freedom. We owe them our gratitude for sharing their time with us, and their devotion to duty gives us a rich heritage to draw on and to be proud of. We could not be the soldiers and service members we are today had it not been for the comrades in arms who came before us. Men and women that are veterans, your legacy is inspiring, and it's just one thing that gives us the strength to shoulder up our rucksacks again, pick up our arms, kiss our family members goodbye, and deploy to distant places far from home. This strength is truly the strength of America. It transcends the power of military equipment, no matter how impressive. The strength of America comes from the extraordinary commitment of ordinary Americans to serve something bigger than themselves. Quite simply, the idea that freedom is a reality that's worthy of the most dedicated efforts. On Veterans Day, we honor the service of past generations, but we also look to those of the future, like all the cadets here in the crowd today. Today's veterans, custodians of the cherished memory who have also made it their duty to support those now in uniform, are the continuity between the generations. They uniquely know what it means to serve. They have a clear-eyed grasp of what those who are serving need so that they can do their duty. Our veterans understand that we have entered in an era of persistent conflict with an adaptive enemy who is fueled by extremist ideologies. Our veterans advocate for a strong defense, for the best equipment, the best training, and the best leadership. They fight for health care and benefits of those who have served, and when necessary, those veterans hold our military and our government accountable. Veterans know the hearts and minds of the soldiers today. They know the misery of marching for hours through cold rain, and they know the joy of seeing and touching American soil after a long service overseas. From one generation to the next, certain elements of war may change. Yes, combat uniforms have fewer buttons and more Velcro. Computers are everywhere, and our Army is transforming so they can fight and win along a full spectrum of conflict, from counterinsurgencies to major land wars. But one thing remains the same: the heart of the American soldier. Soldiers still believe in the cause for which they serve, and are still willing to risk everything for those to the left and the right, and for those back home. Our veterans remember what it's like to be part of a closely bonded team. It matters little if their tour of duty was associated with combat, for not all see combat, but all serve. More importantly, there's something about service which brings diverse members close together for that one special period of time of life, whether it was on a frosty hillside in Korea or a muddy maneuver area in Germany during the Cold War. Men and women in the spring of life breathe in a common experience of service and will never be the same. That's one reason why our veterans have a vested interest in what our military does today. They may not know all the specifics of the new programs like the new ground combat vehicle or the modernization program of networked manned and unmanned systems that will enable our warriors to dominate in a complex environment. Nor may veterans be completely up on the improvements we're making in treating catastrophic battle injuries or the other changes we have concerning watching out for our battle buddy, especially when it comes to sign of stress. What our veterans do know is that our military is going through a period of significant change. They know of our obligation to care for those who have served before us. As Abraham Lincoln said in his second inaugural address, "We have a duty to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and his orphan." For instance, although highly publicized, you may not realize that over 300 service members who have suffered major limb loss have returned to duty, and 47 of those have multiple redeployments in the combat zones. I became a trailblazer for this movement, but I am humbled by the actions of our brave men and women every day. For example, today there are 2 officers that continue to serve on active duty, but are completely blind. Ladies and gentlemen, these heroes exemplify the commitment to service that our all-volunteer force has today. We are the next greatest generation. Our veterans realize our military is seeking to rebalance itself with the right mix of forces for this and future fights, and that our soldiers and families are stressed by lengthy and repeated deployments. Our Army lives the Army Family Covenant every day to ensure that our fiercely independent families who know how to take care of each other have the services that they know they can rely on, that help is there when they need it. That's important because the families are another source of strength for soldiers. The old saying of recruiting soldiers but retaining families has never been more true. Our veterans and neighbors do all they can do because they want to give back. Congress passed no law requiring them to extend their service to the nation. No one is paying them for their time and efforts. They are under no obligation to continue their service. No, our veterans and neighbors do this because they understand what it takes to be a soldier or Marine in combat. They know all too well the demands placed on service members and their families, and that makes them even more determined to support our men and women in uniform. They have taken the warrior ethos to heart, and they still place the mission first. They will never quit, and they will never leave a fallen comrade behind. Those of us that still serve in uniform look to those of you that have gone before us with admiration and gratitude. On this day of honoring veterans, we remember all that you've done for our nation and that you continue to do unasked. Thank you. We've all heard the phrase, "think of that." The longer version might go something like this: if If you love the freedoms this country has to offer, think of that. Most veterans will probably tell you that serving their country was a privilege and no thanks is necessary. But I ask each and every one of you out there in the audience today, resolve to leave here and personally find someone who has served or is currently serving in uniform. Tell them how grateful you are for their selfless service. They have given so much of themselves to make this nation strong, and they leave us a legacy of which we can all be proud of. Over the next 2 years, as we leave Iraq and Afghanistan, let's make every day Veterans Day. May God bless our nation and those who serve her. Thank you.